Hey there! Today I'm going to show you how to make these, I don't know, I think they're pretty darn cute, little knit sweaters. I mean, you can use them for anything. They've made cute little package tags. You put the initial of the gift E on them. I'm going to use them as Christmas ornaments, so I've got these little hangers. I'll share the links. String them up as a garland would be cute. Anyway, I just think they're adorable. And the good news is, if you're a knitter, you probably have enough scrap yarn to whip up a couple of these. I'm just using a ball of Barocco Vintage, which is a worsted weight. So if you're following these patterns, the pattern is written, which I'll share below as well. I'm using a worsted weight and US 5 double-pointed needles. All right, and I'm going to walk you through the process. It's really pretty easy. If you can knit with double-pointed needles, you won't have a problem. If you haven't knit with double-pointed needles before, I do have a tutorial that might help. I'll link that right up here. But you know, this might be enough for you to kind of figure it out. I'm going to walk you through step by step. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to just dive right on into it. Move those aside. And once again, we're working with double-pointed needles. And go ahead and make sure you have 5 of them. I think most of the time they come with 5, but sometimes I think they only come with 4. So make sure you have 5. All right. And we're going to cast on 26 stitches, but we're going to break the 26 up into between 4 needles. All right. And let me show you how we're going to do that. So I'm just going to get my little slip knot first. Okay. So I'm just going to cast on the 26 stitches to begin with. All right, 26 stitches. All right, and then we're going to turn our work, and this is where we're going to start picking up our other DPNs and distributing the stitches around. Okay, so the first stitch, the first of these stitches, you're going to put 7 of the stitches on. All right, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you're going to pick up a second needle and transfer 6 over. 1, 2. Oops, that's 7. And I apologize for the noise in the background. Let me see. I might have to shut the window. Okay, I closed the window. I hope I could still hear it. We've got construction going on both sides of us right now. Okay, so we've got 6, then we're going to do 7. Wait, let me make sure I have 6. Yeah, okay, then we're going to put 7 on the next needle. Okay, and then we should have 6 on the last. All right, and as it is when you're working in double point needles and circular needles, you want to make sure that your stitches are not twisted. And so right now these are not twisted. Just do it. It helps to lay them on a flat surface for the first couple times you've done it to make sure that you don't get your stitches twisted. You don't want like that. All right, you just want them all so that this inside edge is where it's supposed to be. It's not out, like that over here. All right, so that is your goal in separating those 26 stitches. All right, then you're going to pick up your 5th stitch and you're just going to start knitting. And first we're going to attach these. Okay, so let's move these guys up and these guys up, making sure we don't twist anything. And there's several different ways to attach double-pointed, to attach knitting in the round. One of the ways that I do is I just swap the first 2. Okay, so take this guy off the stitch, and this guy, off the needle, and this guy off the needle, and then pick that one up over there, and that one up over there. All right, and now technically they're attached. All right, that's the easiest way, I think. Okay, and this sweater, this little mini sweater, is we're knitting from the neck down. And so the first thing we're gonna do is we are gonna knit the neck ribbing. So we're gonna be working in a, just a knit purl ribbing. So we're just gonna knit that first one. Whoopsie, I meant to grab my 5th needle, there it is. All right, and make sure your yarn is in the back. Okay, and this first row is, first 2 rows are always the most difficult with double pointed needles. Okay, and we're just going to knit purl all the way around, and with the even number of stitches you will end on a knit and start in the round on a purl. Like I said, this first row just a little dicey. I promise you it gets a lot easier. So knitting with chopsticks here. Okay, then we know where the next one's going to be a knit, so go ahead and put that in the back. Slide these stitches up. And knit. And then purl, and you're going to have to just dodge needles for this first row or 2. All right, so we ended on a knit, so let's go ahead and bring that forward because we know we're going to do a purl here. And if you feel like, if you prefer, go ahead and put a stitch marker where you started at the beginning. I just never use stitch markers. My grandmother always used to tell me I'm hoodly-foodly, which means I don't have much patience. I just kind of dive in. And but I've always found that this tail tells me where my rows begin and end. So I've never really felt the need, but if you are a stitch marker person, absolutely put a stitch marker where you began your row. Okay, so we're ending on a purl, which is good. It means we've done everything right so far. So we've worked 1 row in ribbing, and we're going to continue and work another row in ribbing. All right, so 2 rows in ribbing. And it's important to keep the 6 and the 7, the needles with the 6 stitches and the needle with the 7 stitches as they are, because in a little bit we're going to be pulling the needles with the 6 stitches. I'm sorry, we're going to be pulling the stitches on the needle with the 6 stitches off, and they're going to be the sleeves, and we're going to work them separately. So this will make more sense in a bit, but if you're wondering, definitely keep the 7 and the 6 the way they are. All right, so this is going to be the last set of ribbing stitches for the neck. Oops, pulled that guy right off. I'm not going to get him on right. Okay. Okay, that's what your work should look like at this point. You've worked 2 rounds of ribbing, and you have 6, what do we have? We have 7, 6, we should have 7 and 6, all right? All right, at this point, we are just going to knit every stitch all the way around. So, I'm gonna knit 1 row around. Okay, so we're coming back around. We've done 1 row of all knit, and now we're going to do a little increasing. But that's what you're going to look like at this point. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to increase the last stitch on every needle. Okay, and we're just going to move along. We're just going to knit everything. And how we're going to increase is we're going to knit through the back loop. Okay, so I'm going to just pull it up and knit it, and then knit again. So we've just increased 1 stitch on that row, and we're just going to keep doing that. So at the end of this round, we're going to have 8, 8. Well, we're going to have 8, 7, 8, 7 instead of 7, 6, 7, 6. So let's just do a quick count. We should have 7, 8, 7, 8. So 2, 4, 6, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8. All right, okay, so that after we've increased, we're just going to work another row just knitting. All right, now we're going to do another increase row, and this time we're going to increase through the back loop after I finish this row of the first and last stitches on every needle. All right, so let's see, and you can see the neck starting to form a little here. Oh, so in the first and last stitch and through the back loop. Okay. Then after this row, after we do this all the way around, we're going to knit all the way around, and then we're going to repeat that. We're going to knit in the first and last, make a stitch in the first and last stitch of every needle, and then knit another round. All right, so at that point you should have 46 stitches, and you're going to have gone from 7, 6, 7, 6 to 12, 11, 12, 11. All right, so I will meet you back. Okay, so we've gone around a couple times. The last 4 rows, we've increased 2 on each, we increased 2 on each needle, and then we worked a row and knit, and then we did another increase 2 on each needle, and then we worked another row of knit, and you should have at this point 46 stitches And those 46 stitches will be divided amongst these 4 needles, and you'll have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. And you should have 11 here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 11. And then these other 2 should have 12. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All right, so we've got 46 stitches. At this point, we are going to remove the stitches on the needles with the 11, and we're going to just put them on a piece of yarn. And I tried, I'm sorry, using like little stitch holders, and that doesn't work. You really need a piece of yarn. And I've just got little pieces of yarn and like a tapestry needle, just I find makes it easiest. Okay, so you don't need to knot it, but what we're going to do is we are just going to slip these 11 stitches, and make sure you're doing the 11. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Just slip them off the needle and run this tapestry needle right through them. Okay, and then grab that end, and I just tied a bow, because you're going to want to, I've just been reusing this piece of yarn. I just tie a nice snug bow to kind of keep them out of the way when you're working. Okay, and you're going to do the same on this side. All right, so we've got both sides, and now you can see your sweater's really going to take shape now. Okay, so then at this point, what we're going to do is we are just going to knit this body. We're going to do 10 more rows, and then we're going to do 2 rows of rib. We're just going to start knitting. And I've only been using these 3 needles. I've got that green in there. I didn't see the need to split it amongst more needles, but feel free to, whatever makes it easier for you. Definitely at the beginning and the end of each row, make sure you snug that up to attach the sides to each other. Okay, then just pick up back over here. Snug that up. Two needles close together will help you keep that gap between on the sides smaller. Just not stretching the stitch between the 2 sides. Okay, so we worked 10 rows stocking stitch, and now we're going to do the rib in rib stitch. So 1 by 1 ribbing, so knit 1, purl 1 all the way around, and we're going to do 2 rows of ribbing. And at the end of the 2 rows, just bind off, and then we'll work on the sleeves. And I always like to cast off in pattern. So I know these are just little ornaments, but I'm in the habit of doing that, so, you know. Okay, how cute is this already, right? So now we're going to work on these little sleeves. And so just what we're going to do is we're going to thread 2 needles, one on each side, through half of each sleeve. And the easiest way I found to do that is to just go up each side with the thread in there. Okay, go up half. And then get the other half. Okay. And then use another needle to just kind of pull that green thread out. All right, so we have 5 stitches on one needle and 5 stitches on, I'm sorry, 6 stitches on another needle. So we have 11 stitches. Remember, those were the 11. We're gonna make that 12, but first we're going to just go around one time, and then when we come back around, we'll pick up the 12th. We'll make the 12th. So easy as just picking up and knitting. Make sure you get the right tail, right into the yarn. And you can go ahead and snug that first stitch up if you want a little. Okay. Oops, I'm backwards. Okay, so when you get back down here, we are just going to make one. And you know what? I'm just going to make it right here. So I have 6 and 6. So once again, we're just going to knit through the back loop. Okay, and then we're just going to join that sleeve. Where's my yarn? Okay, and we're going to knit each sleeve for 7 rows. So that was 1. We're starting the second, and then we're going to do 2 rows of ribbing. Okay. Okay, once you've finished knitting your sweater, if you want, I mean, you can do anything with it, really. I'm adding the initials of my family members. And so let me just show you how I'm doing that. But you know, you could embroider a snowflake. You can do whatever you want on this. At this point, it's yours to decorate as you will. Little polka dots, little, you know, French knots. So I'm just using DMC. I'm kind of free forming this. I'm not using an exact pattern or anything. All right. Knotting my thread. Okay, so what I am doing is I'm generally lining the top of the letter up below the armpits, okay? Okay, so my letters are 5 across, and that just makes 5 stitches across. And that just makes it easy to find a center stitch. Okay, so, and to find the center stitch, what I'm doing is I'm basically, first of all, I'm lining the top of the letter up for underneath the armpit. Okay, and then I'm just going to find the center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 6. Okay, this is going to be the top of my letter, the middle of the top of my letter, and I'm going to do an E now. So what I've been doing, let me just kind of try to make that a little bigger so I can mark it. And don't pull it tight, just hold on to the knot in the back till you get that first stitch made, and then down. Okay, so there's my first X. Then since I'm going to keep in the same pattern of always making my first stitch going from the left to the right and up 1, I'm just going to go over, left to right, up 1, and I'm just going to stay in this pattern. Okay, and I gotta do one more. This one. Okay. Yeah, I probably should have. I do want to keep that same pattern, but I'm going to go. Make sure you don't stitch the front and the back together, which I just did. Got my finger under here. Okay, then I'm going to come back over here, do the bottom part of the E.